assembled teams from the best of Australia's car building and car tuning workshops to see who can build the toughest street monster. Our teams will go head-to-head in a final fuel-burning, rubber-shredding competition. Does the Turbo Falcon have what it takes to beat the blown VT Commodore? We're off to HPF for the final word in Ford versus Holden.
Well, at the moment we're replacing the valve springs. At the moment it's got the stock valve springs, which once we add a bit of boost into this car and more fuel, they're not going to keep up. So I've gone for a stronger spring. Process is removing the intake and rocker cover. And we remove the timing chains, remove the cams and the rockers. And then we use these special tools to put air into the cylinder, which then keeps the valves up, and we're able to push the tops of the springs down, remove the collets and then pull the spring out without the valves falling into the engine. I'm hoping to see well over 300, maybe mid 300s, 300 kilowatts of the wheels, would be nice. Otherwise, it might cost me a six-pack of Chupa Chups.
It's done a couple 100,000, and that's the thing that you'll see with the Gold Commodore as well, is that you get a car like that and you've got oil leaks to fix, you've got timing chain guides that are broken, and you've really got to work through the car, and it's not as simple as just saying, well, I've got a car, how much is it going to cost to fix? Especially when they get a bit of age in them, you've got to sort of open the door, have a look and see, okay, shit, we need to do a seal there, we need to do a gasket there, or things like that.
Upon pulling it apart, we've found that there are a few damaged parts. So we've found that the timing guide is separated for the timing chain, and it's best to jump on that now rather than later. It may cause some issues. So we decided to replace it with a new one and new timing chain and timing chain tensioner. So I've just finished reinstalling the camshafts after fitting the valve springs. We've gone and put a new set of timing chains on it to keep everything safe, the chain guides and a new chain tensioner. So that should be all right to go. And now I'm about to start pulling the front bar off and fitting a front mount intercooler.
Yes, this is a factory BA-XR6 turbo intercooler. An intercooler's got to work in a few different ways. Well, it's really a heat soak, that's all it does. It takes the heat out of the air. But a small intercooler becomes a restriction to A, airflow, so the amount of tubes that the air has to travel through. B, it gets hot quick because it's so small, it doesn't have the surface area to get rid of the heat. And 3, the air travelling through the intercooler, because there's so much of it and the intercooler tubes are so small, it has to travel super fast, so the air doesn't spend a long time in the intercooler, so it doesn't give up its heat as quickly. Where with a larger intercooler, not only is it a much bigger heat source or heat soak, there's a lot more tubes for the air to travel through, and then the tubes, because there's so many more tubes, the air travels slower through there and spends more time in there to get rid of the heat. So that's why a larger intercooler works, especially in a situation like this.
It's definitely a good investment to get a bigger intercooler for these cars, or any turbocharged car for that matter, as this one's quite thicker, quite larger in every way than the standard one. Should help with keeping the air intake temperatures nice and cool.
We've upgraded the fuel pump because the fuel pump was lagging a little bit behind, and now I'm ready to win a bet, get the front bar on, get it onto the dyno, let's go.
Boys, during the week we had the big Holden versus Ford challenge. I believe, Jace, you were going with the Holden.
Yep.
And Samo, you were going with the BA Falcon.
Yep.
I believe the results were pretty close, and you guys had a bit of a bet going. How'd they go, Matty? What was the results?
Mate, the Ford come in with 296 kilowatts at the wheels.
Yeah.
The Holden, 330.
Oh, yeah.
Pay up, Sammy.
Well, a bet's a bet. And I got you a slab, as agreed. 25 chop chops.
Oh, beautiful.
Bet's a
bet. Thanks, mate. Good bet.
Hand them out.
Next, we meet Aussie racing legend Ian Luff
And then he flicked me the keys and said, "Here, drive it like you stole it."
as we catch up with Sash and Paul from AN Racing.
I get to meet a lot of people through different things, and I was actually asked to do a reality TV show called Blood, Sweat and Gears. I got to meet a guy called Sash Ninovic, who turned up there with this pretty amazing Ford Falcon. The car's known around circles, but it was the first time I'd been introduced to it, and Sash. We got on like a house on fire because he's a really methodical person, told me what he'd done with the car, shoehorned this big engine in there, Pro Charger, told me what he'd done with the gearbox and drive line and stuff like that. So I was pretty comfortable. And then he flicked me the keys and said, "Here, drive it like you stole it." And we formed an amazing friendship. And he really knows his way, particularly around Fords, whether it be Mustangs, older model cars. That's his passion. But even, you know, he switches across occasional to the Lion side, you know, like Camaros and stuff like that. If it's got a V8 engine or a big six or anything like that, Sash is the man. He sort of knows how to develop a car, but build it properly. Because the problem with a lot of young people, they get enthusiasm exceeding their abilities, whether it be on the road, the racetrack, or in building a car. And most people want grunt. They want to stick the big engine, but they do nothing to the brakes, nothing to the suspension. So in a lot of cases, the car might go like snot, but it won't go around corners and it won't stop. I believe people need to get the right advice. People like Sash, they're very good with advice, I can tell you, and I believe you've got to listen to people who are better equipped and better knowledgeable in the sense of knowing how to build a performance car and how to do it properly. Yes, it might cost a bit more money, but at the end of the day, it's better to build the thing in a smart way that will deliver smarter outcomes.
Well, Paul tried to put the right plate on the left side.
I was facing the shock connection straight to the top.
Go, Paulie, tell him what we're doing, mate.
Here we're putting in the U-bolts and the diff plate to hold the diff housing.
These U-bolts are aftermarket ones. And when I say aftermarket, I'm not talking about them being ordinary quality. They're actually better quality than the original ones. So that's why we're using them in this situation, because there's a lot of power being transferred through the rear end here. So they actually need to hold it all nice and snug. What we've also done here, we've eliminated, originally there's a rubber mounting under the diff housing and under that bottom plate in between here. Now what that does in a high power situation, the diff tries to rotate under power, and with those rubbers there, it allows it to rotate a lot, and you end up bending these plates on this bracket under here. So that's a strengthened up bracket. We've eliminated the rubber. We've drilled the right size hole and put a thick plate on this one here. So that's all sandwiched together snug now, and it won't go anywhere.
The whole way.
This breather tube here is longer than a standard one, and the reason being it's unique to a GTHO, because you run underneath this junction box up here, there's also a spacer. Now the reason for the spacer is because on a GTHO, as we mentioned, it runs a rear sway bar, and there will be a U-bolt going through here. Okay, this is the U-bolt that's going to be holding the sway bar to the diff housing. It goes there like that. And as you can see, it's so close to this junction box, and had we have not raised that out of the way, that would foul against there. The diff, it's a custom-made housing, nodular centre, a true track hemisphere, 31 spline billet axles. It's all the stuff that can handle probably up to 1,000 horsepower. I've got the sway bar.
The bar?
Yeah. This here will complete the sway bar. As you saw, we've bolted the sway bar to the diff housing, but if we don't bolt the other end of it to the car, well, it's not really going to do anything. So this is back to this original GTHO arrangement here. We're just going to bolt that through there, and that will be attached. The diff will be attached to the chassis. As the chassis tries to roll, the diff goes with it, or vice versa.
Let's head south to Geelong and catch up with the master tuner, Paul Farrell from Geelong Performance Centre.
Okay, so today we're tuning Mercedes-Benz A250 2014 model. These are a front-wheel drive, 2-litre turbocharged petrol engine. I've already tuned it. I've already put a tune file into it. It's going quite well. We've picked up quite a bit of power. We're running this car in 5th gear. The power we've picked up in 5th gear isn't the whole story because these cars are quite torque limited in 1st and 2nd gear. And the reason they do that is to limit wheel spin. I don't really like that, and the majority of my customers don't either because we want to be in control of the power through our right foot. So we've removed the ECU from the A250. We've set it up here on the bench, as you can see, and I've made some changes. And we're going to write the new file onto the microprocessor, put the ECU back together, we'll put it back in the car, we'll run it up again and we'll see how much more power we've got. This is a dyno graph for the A250 Mercedes. And as you can see, we started with 132 kilowatts at the front wheels. After the remap, we now have 155 kilowatts. So we've picked up over 20 kilowatts at the wheels. The torque has increased by 50 newton metres. Massive increase, and should be a good fun thing to drive now. The husband brought the car in. I think he wanted it hotted up a little bit more than she did. But now that she's driven it, she absolutely loves the car and wants more power.
Coming up, we meet the next generation of track stars as we go karting with the master and his little apprentice.
Today we're at the Picton Kart Track in Picton, New South Wales, racing the final round of the state titles. My son is in the Cadet 12 category. He's going well. This year he's stepped up to Cadet 12. Last year was Cadet 9. He's only been karting for about just under 2 years. We were sort of at the real pointy end last year in Cadet 9. He was almost going to be Australian champion in the Cadet 9 category. Since we've been karting, he's been learning a lot about the technical aspect of just mechanics in general. He's become more confident. He's even become better at school. He uses his brain, calculations, making moves out there. All of that, it's all very beneficial.
My dad gives me good information how to drive and what to do if something's going wrong.
We run a wholesale and a retail and an importing business with CRG Karts. And then part of my job is to run the race team, which is why we're here this weekend. Bring the transporter, bring all the gear, bring all the tyres, set up all the tents, get everybody set up. We've got 12 drivers here this weekend. I met Sash at the track one day when he was out there with young Alex doing some practice, and we just got to talking. He came into the shop to buy some bits and pieces, and then basically sort of come over to us and joined in with our team. And very, very, very nice people, very switched on, and Alex himself, I think, has got a pretty big future ahead of him. The way that he does things and building that father-son relationship and doing the work himself, and then watching Alex grow as a driver is exactly what the sport needs.
The whole family enjoys it. We get to spend time together at various different venues around Sydney and around the country. We get to watch him progress in what he loves doing. It's very gratifying. The family bond is it's the most important thing, more important than the karting and anything else.
The thing I like about karting is there's quality racing and everyone is good at racing with each other. When we go to a different track, me and my dad work out what gearing we should have and which race lines I should use. My favourite part of racing was last year at the Australian Championships. at Puckapunyal in Victoria, I came first in Cadet 9. That's the only time I came first in Australia, and that was a really nice moment.
Next up, we crank up the Barbie and head back to Sydney to check in on the progress of the GDHO Phase 3 build.
You balance it, just hold it back so I can stick my hand underneath. That's right, we'll start screwing them in. We've completed installation of the 36-gallon fuel tank, complete with the breather tube. Everything's 100% complete, ready to basically start pouring fuel in if we wanted to. Now we're going to install the starter solenoid. This is like the period correct sort of 70s, mid-70s starter solenoid. Runs a clapper starter motor. We're going to put that in. We're going to put a alternator relay, driving light relay. Push in and press the button.
This line here goes from the left caliper to the brake booster. Master cylinder. Left front, right front.
The reason we put a blob of silicon around the bottom of this shaft here is because it's directly above the air inlet to the fresh air pod under there. So if water would get through there, to drip straight down on your feet. That side there doesn't matter so much. The wiper motor just doesn't want to cooperate. It's not working at all. It's all right, we'll get another one. This is a clutch line. This will push fluid from the clutch master cylinder down to the slave cylinder. Now the factory one comes with just a plastic tube here that's pressed in. This has actually got a braided piece in there. That's also pressed in, but with a higher pressure. It will never burst because the clutches we run to handle the power that we're going to be running, they're extra hard. So all that hard pedal effort is transferred into the hydraulic system. My father ended up buying a XW Fairmont, early 80s, and I sort of remember it being an interesting shape of car, but that was sort of it. It just looked a little different to most other cars out there. And one day I heard a bit of a racket going on along Princess Highway down there at Cogra when I was a kid, and I looked up and I saw this beautiful looking car that looked exactly like my dad's car, but it had a great big gold stripe down the side, and it was just really flashy looking. And at the time when I looked further into it, it turns out that this is a GT Falcon, and this is how these cars were bought from the factory back in the day. So I thought that was pretty cool. My first car is actually a XY GT replica, Vermilion Fire. I was a kid at the time, 15, 16 years old. I had to beg my father to lend me the money to buy this thing. I didn't even have a license, but I just had to have this thing. It's had a few various different engine combinations and a few changes over the years, but I still have that car today. It's been basically 27 odd years that I've owned that car. That was my first car.
On the next Rides Down Under, we spend time with Australian drag racing champion Darren DeFilippo and get a behind-the-scenes tour of DPE Performance Exhausts. And if that doesn't heat up your pipes, we show you how to go out in style in an all-Aussie-made episode. If you think you've got what it takes to be part of Workshop Wars, contact us for our next season.